What Fox Television told us was that we were just the people to be the investigators.
Do any stories you want, ask tough questions, and get answers. So I thought, this is great. This is a dream job.
In the last 50 years, the media's influence on American society has grown exponentially along with the advance of technology.
We live in a society that depends on the free stream of information and communication to allow progress in the right direction.
The average American wakes up, checks the TV, reads the newspaper, listens to the radio, or converses with others to acquire the news. Throughout the day, they may briefly share what they have heard with others and will generally take it as factual information.
It is important to note that we put trust into the media to give us the news we perceive as fact. The influence of such information in society is so great that Americans should look further into who's presenting the information and why.
I picked up my copy of the New York Times at the corner newsstand. The price had gone up from $3.50 to $4. Slight modifications in design preserved the look and texture of the Times with all existing features and sections and somewhat fewer words per page. The sign of the Times. More money, less news. All the rest is commentary.
Mass media, I think, is good in the sense that we're able to reach out to every corner of the world now with the internet, with newspaper distribution, with satellite feeds on television. And so in that sense, it's great because the society in which we live in has the ability to stay informed.
How does the mass media influence society?
It all depends on who owns the corporation, who's the money behind the media, if you will, because at the end of the day, they're going to be the ones that determine what content is viewed or aired and what's not.
How do you think people interpret the mass media? Do they believe everything that they're told?
I think the younger kids, the 10 to 14-year-old kids, take everything as true. The older you get, you know, a high school senior, a college senior, a 35-year-old, I think they're able to apply more filters to what's being taken in. For me, there are times where I'm guilty of not putting on the right filters, and so what I hear, I believe. It's when I talk to somebody about what I heard and maybe get their take on it that my mind is open up to maybe different ideas.
So we got into a battle, and the first deal was the new general manager called us upstairs to his office, and he said, what would you say if I killed this piece? What if it never ran? And we said, well, you know, we wouldn't be very happy about that. And he said, well, I could kill it, you know. And we said, yes, of course, you're the manager. You could kill it. It would never air. About a week later, calls us back to the office and says, okay, we'd like you to make these changes. In fact, you will make these changes. We said, well, look, let us show you the research that we have that shows that this information you want us to broadcast isn't true. To which he replies, I don't care about that. I said, pardon me? And he said, that's what I have lawyers for. Just write it the way the lawyers want it written. I said, you know, this is news. This is important. This is stuff people need to know. And I'll never forget, he didn't pause a beat, and he said, we just paid $3 billion for these television stations. We'll tell you what the news is. The news is what we say it is. I said, I'm not doing that. And he said, well, he said, if you refuse to present the story the way we think it should be presented, you'll be fired for insubordination. I said, I will go to the Federal Communications Commission and I will report that I was fired from my job by you, the licensee of these public airwaves, because I refused to lie to people on the air.
He was going to offer us the rest of our year's salary if we agreed not to talk about what Monsanto had done, to not talk about the Fox corporate response in suppressing the story.
It was, okay, we can't buy you out, we can't shut you up, let's get the story on the air in a way that we can all agree it will go on the air. They, in effect, announced that they were going to fire us for no cause. Well, this was a little much.
And Steve wrote a letter to the lawyer in Atlanta, whose name is Carolyn Forrest, the Fox corporate lawyer.
And I said, you know, this isn't about being fired for no cause. You're firing us because we refused to put on the air something that we knew and demonstrated to be false and misleading. That's what this is about. And because we put up a fight, because we stood up to this big corporation, and we stood up to your editors, and we stood up to your lawyers, and we said to you, look, there ought to be a principle higher than just making money.
And she wrote a letter back and said, you are right. That's exactly what it was. You stood up to us on this story, and that's why we're letting you go.
Most Americans don't realize the vast majority of the media they're getting come from the same sources and the corporate holdings from them. And in that vein, do they ever question whether or not they're free? They don't seem to see themselves as a product of the controlled media. And so to me, I don't know that most people even recognize this as a problem at all. That's your problem, I suppose. Whether it be left-wing, right-wing, I avoid that mentality about it whatsoever. I don't think they care about, I don't think the right-wing cares about advancing specific truths to make their people more informed through those medias. No, they still need to sell products. In the same vein, I don't know the left-wing cares to really advance their propaganda as much as their job of selling products through those medias. It's not valuable to the corporation unless it sells the products involved. There's no need for anything more than that in terms of truth. If you want to learn a lot about conservatism or learn a lot about, let's say, republicanism and democracy and democratics, don't be watching TV. You've got to be doing some other reading, otherwise you'll be peddling a product at the same time. Most people do know, I think, that what they're seeing through, again, the TV medias are very questionable, but they don't do much to change it. There are other good medias, whether it be journalism or even online. There are good ones to look at. I'd stay away from the ones whose corporate profits are the main bottom line of why they do what they do.
The media has a huge impact on society and in public opinion. They can shape the public mind on account of information they choose to present.
Faulty information has been fed to the public in the past in order to sway opinion for whatever objective the corporation is trying to complete, whether it be political, economical, or social.
It is important to note that many news corporations receive their information from the same sources and have monopolistic backgrounds in other industries. The information they do not wish for the public to see does not get broadcasted.
Yet at the same time, Americans either are unaware of this or choose to ignore it, which makes it the greatest challenge to our society and threatens a healthy democracy. Go out and research the facts for yourself. See the stories from as many perspectives as possible. Learn the truth.